We're here to protect you and the ones that you love. It's a good feeling to know that our efforts aren't going unnoticed.
It actually brought tears to my eyes to know that we have this support.
You're welcome. I must just say, you're welcome. It's stressful, but we're not going anywhere.
Welcome to another edition of Bucknell Men's Swimming and Diving Through the Decades. Tonight we have the most recent decade of Bucknell alums, that of 2010s. We've got a great group joining head coach Dan Schinnerer and one of our current student athletes from the swimming and diving team, John Gehrig. John, first year from Charlotte, North Carolina, and we thank John for jumping on tonight. My name's Todd Newcomb. I want to thank Geisinger as our sponsor for tonight's event. Geisinger has done a tremendous job throughout the pandemic in the neighboring and surrounding communities here in Lewisburg, and they do a fantastic job day in and day out with our student athletes here at Bucknell. So thank you to Geisinger for sponsoring tonight's event. As I mentioned, it's the 2010s, and I'm going to introduce our guest before I turn it over to head coach Dan Schinnerer. And our guest from the class of 2012 is Eric Sokolowski. He was among the school's all-time top 10, where he ranked 6th in the 100 free and 7th in the 50 free. He's also among the top 10 as a member of 14 different relay units. He was a Patriot League champion in the 50 free in 2010. He was a 4-time All Patriot League selection, including twice to the first team. He was the AC champion in the 100 free in both 2010 and 2012, and also as part of the 400 free relay in 2012. He won the Deerstein Door Award as the team's MVP in 2012, and he won the Bud Rank Memorial Award at the Athletic Department Senior Awards Dinner. Our next guest from the class of 2013 is Billy Kraus, team captain during the 2012-2013 season. Among the school's all-time top 10, he ranked 6th in the 200 fly and 9th in both the 500 free and 400 IM. He was a 4-time All Patriot League second team selection, and Billy won the Deerstein Door Award as the team's co-MVP in 2013. Our next guest, also from the class of 2013, Christian Treat, team captain during the 2012-2013 season. Among the school's all-time top 10, he ranks 2nd in the 100 breast, 3rd in the 200 breast, and 4th in the 200 IM. He's also listed among the top 10 as a member of 8 different relay units. Time All Patriot League selection, including twice to the first team. He was an EAC champion as part of the 800 free relay in 2011. He was a time member of the Academic All Patriot League team. He was the Patriot League Scholar Athlete for the sport of swimming and diving in 2011, 2012, and 2013. He won the Deerstein Door Award as the team's co-MVP in 2013, and he won the Alvin F. Jackson Jr. Scholar Athlete Award at the Athletic Department Senior Awards Dinner. Our next guest from the class of 2014 is Mike Nicholson. He was the team captain during the 2013-2014 season. He's record holder in both the 100 and 200 fly. In addition, among the all-time top 10, he ranks 2nd in the 200 breast and 3rd in both the 200 and 400 IMs. He's also listed among the top 10 as a member of 3 different relay units. He was a 4-time All Patriot League first team selection. He was a 3-time Patriot League individual champion, capturing the 400 IM in both 2011 and 2014 and the 200 IM in 2014. The AC champion in the 400 IM and the 200 breast, both in 2012. Mike won the Bradley N. Tufts Award at the Athletic Department Senior Awards Dinner. Our next guest from the class of 2018 is Chris Devlin. Chris, school record holder in both the 100 and 200 backstrokes, as well as in the 400 IM. In addition, among the all-time top 10, he ranks 2nd in the 200 IM, 3rd in the 200 free, and 4th in the 500 free. He's also among the relay units that own school records in the 400 medley and 800 free. Chris was a 4-time All Patriot League first team selection. He was a 6-time Patriot League gold medalist, winning the 200 back 3 times, the 400 IM twice, and the 100 back once. He was named the rookie of the meet at the 2015 Patriot League championships, swimmer of the meet at both the 2016 and 2017 Patriot League championships. Chris was an ECAC champion in the 200 back in 2015. He was a 3-time member of the Academic All Patriot League team. He won the Deerstein Door Award as the team's MVP in 2018, and he won the Bison Club Award at the Athletic Department Senior Awards Dinner. Our next guest from the class of 2019 is Charlie McFarland. He was team captain during the 2018-2019 season. He became the school record holder in the 50 free in 2019, snapping a mark that stood for 31 years. He's also among the relay units that own school records in 200 medley, 400 medley, and 200 freestyle. Among Bucknell's all-time top 10 list, he ranks 4th in the 100 breast and 9th in the 100 free. He was an All-Patriot League second team selection in 2019, and Charlie won the Deerstein Door Award as the team's MVP in 2019. Dan, I'm going to turn it over to you. A lot of talent on this call.
It's great to have everybody here. You know, this is obviously a group that I coached, and so it's fun to see everybody. And I look forward to talking about both where you're at, memories of what you did, and hopefully a little bit about what you learned and what you remember from all that time. But before we get back or start looking back, we just want to kind of go around the horn here and hear a little bit about where you're at and what you're doing. And I know at least one of you has got a family, so we'd love to hear those kind of updates. We'll just kind of call you to kind of keep everybody from talking over each other to start off with. And so as you guys have probably become familiar with the Zoom squares, we'll just work our way around what it is kind of clockwise for me. And so Billy, we'll let you kick us off with just an update on what you're up to.
Great. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's exciting to be a part of this group. Currently live in New York City, across the street from some of the guys that are on this call. I work for Abbott Labs, selling medical devices. It's an exciting time to be out in the healthcare industry. And my fiance and I, who's also a Bucknellian, are waiting to get married and very excited about that.
All right, and then we'll go to Chris next.
Again, like Billy, thank you for having us. I really appreciate seeing everybody here. It's been a while. As Eric mentioned, we saw each other about a year ago at the alumni meet, and Billy as well. So good to see everybody again. But I also live in New York City, down a little bit from some of the other guys, with a current swimmer that I graduated with. So keeping that connection going, which is always good. I work for JP Morgan Chase on the private client team. So I'm branch based. So I've been kind of in work since March, in the office, saw the ups and the downs of New York City in the heart of the pandemic. So that was in and of itself an experience, but we're starting to see some things come back to life a little bit. So it's an exciting time for most people, but for me as well.
All right, thanks, Chris. And speaking of exciting times, sounds like Christian, you might have had the most exciting last half an hour. What are you up to these days, Christian?
Hey, Dan. Hey, everybody. Great to see everyone here. So yeah, I'm currently in medical school in my third year. So we're kind of running the gamut on all the different clinical specialties. Right now I'm in OB-GYN, which just prior to this call, just delivered a baby, which was incredible. Though not my first, just to back it up a little bit, I married my wife, class of 2012, Meg Coughlin, and we actually got married on Rook campus. Many of you guys were at our wedding. Since then, also have a baby of our own. We're celebrating her first birthday coming up in next week, little Adelaide, who, Dan, you'll be happy to know that we've been practicing her flutter kick, and I think she's getting pretty good at that.
All right, got some potential.
Oh yeah, a little bit of potential there.
That's awesome, Christian. Thanks. And so moving on, Charlie, you get to go next.
All right. Well, first off, it's good to see everyone. Sorry about I'm kind of like staring up because my computer, the screen doesn't work, so I'm connected to my TV. But so I've been out in Chicago for a couple months now. It's been pretty good. I've gotten adjusted to the lifestyle working at Merrill Lynch. I've been working remote for what seems like forever, working from my box, but it's been good. I live out here with my girlfriend who graduated with me. She actually played basketball, and everything's been pretty smooth so far. Getting used to deep dish pizza over.
Oh, that's a whole conversation in itself right there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Charlie. Mike, you get to go next.
Hey, Dan. Yeah, great to see everyone again. This is fun. So I also live in New York City, to add some diversity to the group. I live about I don't know, probably 400 yards west of Christian and Billy. So I'm a little bit different geographically. I am legally married, which I got married this summer to a former Bucknell women's swimmer. Not the year to get married, so we haven't done the real wedding yet, but that's going to be next year. And I currently work for a company called JS Held. We're a consulting company, and I work on the property insurance side of things.
All right, thanks. And glad to hear that you're legally married now as opposed to illegally married.
Well, I'm looking forward to my my second wedding soon.
Hey, I got married twice as well to the same person. Anyways, Eric, you get to go next. Sacco.
Hey guys, great to see everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm also here in New York, not too far from several of my teammates here on the call and others. Working for Cognizant. It's a large digital transformation organization working in talent acquisition, so doing some recruiting for them. And my girlfriend's moving in with me, so that's a new development that's happening this month. So in terms of life news, that's a big step. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right. Well, thanks for the updates, everybody. And so now that we've kind of caught up with where you're at right now, we want to take time to kind of look back and talk a little bit about your years with the school and the program. And so kind of the first question is just kind of looking at to probably where it began. What do you remember from the recruiting process, and why did you ultimately choose Bucknell? And so we'll just kind of go in reverse. And so we'll start with you, Sacco.
Yeah, sure. Definitely probably a different experience than a lot of my Bucknell Bison teammates on this call. At least, I wasn't recruited in the traditional sense. We had conversations on Dan, and maybe the caliber swimmer that a lot of these guys were in high school. I kind of was a late bloomer, junior and senior year. Started to get faster and faster, which was a good thing, obviously, but maybe wasn't necessarily on your radar early on. But we had conversations about coming to Bucknell. I was considering some other schools, liberal arts colleges. I had visited Lehigh and Lafayette, and I visited Boston College and UConn. So I was kind of looking in mid-major, looking for a place that valued education and athletics kind of equally. And I visited Bucknell and met with you, Dan, and obviously the campus is so beautiful. It was just like kind of knew at that first visit this is like the right place. Ended up committing early decision 2, I think, and yeah, that was kind of it. It was easy for me, honestly. It was like after all the visits and the conversations I had. It was Bucknell far and away ahead of the others. So that was my journey to get to the swim team. A little bit different than a lot of others, but yeah, it wouldn't have changed a thing.
Yep. Now, I actually still remember I think one of the first meetings, and as you alluded to, you didn't have maybe the times, but I remember you had some great relay splits, and that was something that certainly held true throughout your 4 years.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you remember from that process?
Mike, you're on mute.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
There we go. Sorry about that. You'd think I'd be used to this by now. I was probably one of the easier recruits that Dan's probably had to get to Bucknell. I was looking at kind of a wide range of schools in terms of, both academics, athletics. I was looking at a lot of different things. And in the spring of my junior year, I visited Bucknell. It was during a dead period or whatever it's called, where I couldn't meet with Dan, but I visited Bucknell. I absolutely loved it. It just became my, not even really target, it was just where I wanted to go. And I went on my recruiting trip, which was the first trip that I went on. And I was hosted by Billy and Mike Davitt, who's two people I remain close with to this day. Had a great time, and I got home and I was ready to go. I remember that, you know, I had no qualms about it or anything else. My club coach was pressuring me to look at other schools, but I didn't. So I went to Bucknell, and then don't regret it.
Yep, no, I recall that we were pleasantly pleased when you just canceled every other visit and said you were ready to commit. So it was good.
I'm a decisive person.
Yeah. Charlie, who another Empire swimmer from the same club that Mike had a few years later, but you know, thought he might be an IMer, certainly became a sprinter. But what do you remember about that process, Charlie?
Yeah, I definitely was obviously recruited more IMer breaststroke. But going into it, you know, I obviously had that connection with not only Mike, but, you know, with Lewis and with JT, all going to Bucknell. And so that was a school that was, you know, on my radar, and again, was looking at a lot of other mid-major schools where, you know, academics were a big part of it. And, you know, I just felt like I fit pretty well. I went on my recruiting trip. You know, it was better than the other couple I went on. And, you know, I think I was the first one in my class to commit. It was like mid-October. So the rest was history from there. It was a pretty simple decision for me. And, you know, obviously my career kind of shifted towards the middle of it, but, you know, obviously was happy with it.
Yeah, no, that's great, Charlie. And so switching from, yeah, I do remember Mike and Charlie being kind of earlier in the process has changed, but at that time seemed early in the process. I remember with you, Christian, having to wait. What do you remember from that process, or wait for you?
You know, I was thinking that I do remember it being a long time since I did commit, but I don't remember if it was a particular reason or just the fact of, like, you know, me moving out east, you know. I do remember, you know, I got your email, like, you know, the one of the first days in July, and you know, I have family in Ohio, so I was, you know, from Colorado originally, so thinking about schools out east, and my recruiting trip was in September, which I had Eric Sacco and Nate Fry host me, and that clinched the deal. When I was there, you know, it's just when when you go and visit a place, it's all about fit. It's all about how you interact and how you see the guys as, you know, your teammates and your future friends. And, you know, those are all things that really fit the bill. And, you know, just when I went back a later time, just, you know, just on my own, it felt like home. And, you know, that was, and I'm not as decisive as Mike, but we got there.
We definitely did. So that's great. Chris, what do you remember from that process, and why did you ultimately decide on Bucknell?
Yeah, it was kind of like Sacco. It took me a little while to get going in high school. I started to think swimming more seriously probably junior year, and then end of junior year before senior year is when the recruiting process for me started. And I remember you called me, Dan, on July 1st, and I didn't really know what to say or how to respond because I was just unfamiliar, simply just didn't know what was going on. But I remember setting up a trip, feeling pretty good about it. And then I didn't get a lot of emails back from other schools. So it was kind of, I do like the smaller school aspect, but I also got a trip to Penn State. I mean, two different schools in every context, with the size, classroom size, facilities, interaction. So I had to kind of use that as a bouncing board. And my dad was actually one who was like, you're a fool to not go to Bucknell. It kind of just eased it into me, but the more I thought about it, and then I went on my trip. And it's one of those things that, you know, most people will tell you, you just kind of know you fit. I stayed with some of the guys 2 years above me, JT mentioned on the call already, Steve Groom. I stayed with them, and just, I got along. Like, it's a simple click. You kind of know. I was lucky enough to be familiar with the campus, because being from Pennsylvania, my state championship was at Bucknell. So I had swam there my junior year. I knew the campus, knew how gorgeous it was. I love the cafeteria. So that's a selling point. And it just all clicked. It worked out. And I get, like most people, I couldn't be happier where we've been, it's been an amazing ride, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And Billy, you were mentioned as being the reason some people came. So clearly you had some influence, but or at least part of that process. What do you remember about your process?
Well, I love being a host for recruits, so I'm glad that Mike acknowledges that. I love that responsibility. What I remember from my recruiting process was the communication with Dan. Extremely responsive, made me really feel wanted on the team and really feel recruited as versus some of the other schools I was looking at where coaches were not as involved in the process or dished a lot of it off to the assistant coaches. So that was a great set the tone really well for me. Walking on campus, I mean, you're in awe of just every meticulous detail that Bucknell does so well. And then you look at Dan's resume, coming off a really successful stint at Michigan coaching, which was something that was so important to me. And then just hanging with the guys team during the recruiting trip, really feeling like part of it, even as a recruit, seeing myself looking up to a lot of the guys on the team, watching the Saturday morning practice, seeing how fast at times they were just pushing in practice, which was eye-opening for me coming from the club team that I came from with the crowded pool, seeing 21 lanes with well-lit, well-ventilated. I said, this place is a home run, put it all together, and I can't wait to get in. So I was able to get in and take advantage of everything that Bucknell was able to offer.
Thanks. You're still a good recruiter right there. We can just use that pitch. So no, I appreciate that, guys. And so I know Todd introduced John, and I'm going to kick it over to him in a second. But as Todd said, John is one of our freshmen on the men's team this year. Certainly his beginning of Bucknell, or his beginning Bucknell experience, has been a little different than kind of the norm at a number of levels this year. But we're excited to have him, and I want him to be part of this call because he is learning, Bucknell and learning the tradition and history of Bucknell. And so I thought this would be a great group to hear from. And, not to put him on the spot or under pressure, I think he's got the potential to join some of you, or potentially even unseat some of you on the record boards and on the lists. And so I thought it'd be good for you guys to get to meet him as well. And so I'll kick it over to John. I know he's got a question to kind of continue the conversation.
Yeah, so I'm John. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm first semester here at Bucknell. So far, it's been great. So my one question right now would be, what advice would you give me or any other swimmer or divers that are on our program today about the college swimming and diving experience here at Bucknell?
And so for this one, we'll just kind of open it up to whoever wants to kind of jump in first.
I'll jump in just to get it kicked off. I would say take advantage of every aspect of the training and the resources you have while you're there, while you're pursuing your athletic goals, and really look back at what you're accomplishing, because when you're in the interview process into transitioning into a job after college, all these experiences are transferable, and you take lessons from all of them, and they can only help to build your resume and supplement what you're doing in the classroom. So work as hard as you can in the pool and cherish what you're doing, because when you graduate and you look back what you were able to do physically and time management wise, you'll be proud of yourself. So don't lose sight of the big picture while you're going through the FRIM ladders, which I'm sure you're doing and loving so much right now.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off Billy. The one thing I loved most about the team is just the team itself. So there's so many different walks of life. People come from this corner of the country, Texas, Florida. I mean, you name it. You experience so many different people, not just on the team, but in Bucknell's campus. So the thing that I valued most was getting to expose myself with so many different walks of life, whether it be in this, I was an economics major, but I was friends with engineers, and I had no idea what they were doing in class, but I still get to interact with them on a daily basis and kind of pick their brains on how they attack whatever challenge it was. Now, physics for me didn't make sense, but them applying physics and how they went through their classes could maybe help me in a situation where I was unfamiliar with something, but I had to get past it. In regards to athletics, academics, it didn't matter. What I valued most was the people. So spend as much time as you can with your team, with your friends, because as these guys have spoken, people you're friends with people. I'm friends with, I cannot imagine my life right now and my post-college career without the Bucknell Swimming Network, as friendships, as mentors, because I've learned a lot professionally from people that I didn't swim with. For example, I didn't swim with Christian or Billy or Zacho or Mike, but I still consider these guys mentors, even if I've met them once, twice, here and there. But I still looked up to them. I was lucky enough to get to know them because of their involvement with the team. So my biggest stress would be to embrace the team for everything that it can offer you, and just learn from everybody.
I'll piggyback off that because that's right aligned with what I was going to say, just with regard to team, and just the camaraderie and friendships that you build. I'm sure, I mean, you're a couple months in and still getting to know all your teammates and the campus and friends you're going to have. Just telling you now, you're going to have them for the rest of your life. So just kind of build those friendships. And in terms of the team, you know, the camaraderie you have with your folks in your IM group or your fly group, your sprint group, whatever it might be, you know, you're going to push yourself to get better, to train harder, and those are things that you kind of take with you, you know, in the real world. That, you know, working hard as a group, collaborating, all of that goes, you know, kind of directly is associated with, you know, how much success you can have in life and in your career. So that's just one thing I can say is just enjoy the camaraderie and the friendships you're going to build, especially early on right here in the start of your Bucknell career.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah, you can, right? I would also jump in and say that, you know, with swimming, I mean, I think that swimming, diving, you know, they're very, I would say, difficult sports in the sense that, you know, unlike a lot of sports, you train the entire year. Unlike, you know, a lot of sports, you're not watching, you know, people do it on TV every single week or day or whatever it may be. You know, swimming is a grind, right? And, you know, during the year, we're all really oriented on whatever our goals may be. Oftentimes they're very geared towards what occurs in, you know, 1 week in February or 1 week in March. But, you know, what I would say is, while being results oriented is really important, and, you know, obviously everything that you need to do to get there, and that, you know, those steps along the way are really important and really good learning. You know, you're not going to hit every single one of your goals. You're not going to beat everyone that you think you can beat. You're not going to hit all the times that you want to hit. And while it certainly is unbelievable and the best feeling in the world when that does happen, you know, even when it doesn't, you know, it's one of those things where just the journey along the way is really important and still really fun. I mean, there's people that I swam all 4 years with that might not have hit, you know, really any of their goals or a lot of their goals going into college, and still view, you know, their Bucknell swimming experience as really positive and something that they really, really, you know, hold deeply. So I would say, while it's really important to focus on your goals and to work towards them, you know, don't let whole seasons or whole careers or even whole meets or anything just be defined by, you know, a single outcome.
I think what Mike said really reminded me of probably what you already experienced with how Dan writes, like the days until a major competition on the top of every workout. And I think it's, you know, really appropriate because, you know, it's the day-to-day that's going to move the needle ever so slightly into whatever that is. And it could be, you know, it could be in your training, you know, but it also could be, you know, with who you're around, how you build community. You know, these are things that don't happen overnight, and they, you know, they take time. And, you know, if I were to give advice, you know, I would just think of it like the armchair test. You know, when you're 70 and, you know, you're looking back and reminiscing and you're sitting in that armchair, you know, what kind of memories and what sort of experiences are you having? And would you want to always remember and look back on fondly?
All right, I guess I'll finish up. I think the biggest thing is to just take advantage of every moment. Like the most fun times you'll have is just little things like, you know, eating dinner with someone, you know, and just being around everyone, all of your friends in one spot. You know, it's incredibly difficult to do that once you graduate. Like we basically only do it once a year. So just being able to be around everyone, just take advantage of that. Always, say yes if anyone wants to do anything, whether it's, grab food, throw a ball around, even just like study. I know it's a little difficult during these times, but hopefully by the time you're done, everything will be a little bit back to normal.
Thanks, everybody. That was great advice. And so kind of leads into our next question. And you talked about, team and teammates and those friendships as being such a big piece of your experience. But, what is maybe the most memorable moment or experience? And, Charlie talked about it. It can be something just like having a meal with a teammate, or certainly can be a meet or a moment. And maybe if it's not the biggest one, just one of those ones that really defines your experience. And so once again, we'll just kind of open it up for people, but what is, an experience that really stands out for you, or a memory that really defined your time with the team?
Yeah, I'll jump in. So that's when we beat Navy, and it's not even close. So that's it. No, but so my senior year, we beat Navy in a dual meet. Navy is obviously a very good team. We have a lot of respect for the people that go to that institution and swim for that team. And, I'm not going to say that we didn't have a lot of success against them over the previous 3 years, but, the meets were not super competitive. It was one of those things where we took small victories where we could get them. And, we had one meet my senior year where they showed up, they swam their first relay. They looked like crap. We looked really good, and we beat them. I mean, we kept winning races. It kept building as closer and closer and closer to, oh my God, we're actually going to do this. And then we did, and it was awesome. I mean, it was easily the best day of my college experience, bar none. So I would go with that.
It's a good memory.
I have some Army focused memories. Those are probably my most favorite, competition based memories. I think it was like January of my senior year. We went to Army, traveled to New York to swim Army, and won every event in the dual meet. It was like my best, personally, it was my best dual meet I ever had. I think I went 45-7 or something in the 100 free, which was really fast for a dual meet. I was super psyched about that. Me and Trevor Reitz went 1-2 a couple times, and I think we literally won every event in the meet and stomped on them in their home pool, and that was really satisfying. As we were their rivals, kind of at the championship level every meet, every Patriot League meet. And then ECACs my senior year, we had a chance to get runners up to Navy. We just had to win the last relay, or beat Army, finish ahead of them, and we ended up winning. I anchored the relay, and that was quite a moment for me to kind of clinch the runner-up trophy for Bucknell. So beating Army, it's not quite beating Navy, but those were my experiences.
Yeah.
And I guess for me and my team, it was beating Boston. They came into the league, I think it was either my freshman year or the year before. And that was somebody who we had the target on from day one. And I remember we were the other side of the pool from them, the first relay, because I was backstroker in the 2 medley on the first night of Patriots. And I'm looking over at Ben Cicada, who's a senior, behind me. He looks at me, he's like, "You ready?" And I kind of smiled, and I looked over at the team, and everybody's losing their minds. And you guys know nothing's like Patriots at Bucknell, how close it is. Everybody's on you. So I remember that feeling like it was yesterday. And I was like, yeah, I'm really here. We're going to do this. And meet went on. Everybody did pretty well. Had a great start to my career, but we ended up losing by 16 points to Boston at the end of that meet. So 490 to 470 something. Close enough that we were right there, but we couldn't get over that hump. And sophomore year, junior year, while we had some great individual performances, we kept falling short of that ultimate goal of third at Patriots, being Boston. And senior year, we had that chance again. Everybody kind of lines up, and I don't know if Charlie remembers this, but we're positioned pretty well on the last day. I pulled everybody together and was like, "Listen, guys, this has been my goal from day one. I'm not sure none of you were on the team with it when that happened, but this isn't something that I've been focused on, and I know we've been focusing on for a lot of our careers. And I was like, we just have one race left. It's everybody do their job, and when we get there, we're positioned to do that. We just have to beat the Boston kid that's in the race with us. And going to the last relay, we had to not DQ. We had to get 6th or 7th and not DQ, and we would beat Boston. And I remember Dan, we kind of talked about it, and I'm in that relay, and he was like, just don't false start. Just don't false start. That's all you got to do. Just don't false start. And we got it done. It was emotional. We got the whole team together afterwards, but we finished third that year, and it was special for me to again go out on a good note, on something that I've been working for 4 years. And again, I know it's not just myself; it's the whole team. There's 18 guys, or however you want to divide the diving up. Every year that has to do their job. It's more than just a person; it's a team, and it goes back to years and years and months of training together. So that for me was the ultimate. Bring the team together. I'll remember this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I definitely remember that very well, especially that last relay. I think I led into Vince, and I think he might have had 1.5 or to 2 second reaction time. But that was definitely a great moment for us, because I don't even know, like, I didn't even swim that great individually, but just as a team, we were just able to come together. So that was just a great memory. And I think the main one for me was probably right when I finished that 50 free at Patriots my senior year. I look up, I see the clock, and I don't even really have to look at the clock. Like, I just see everyone on the stands just going absolutely insane. Like, I've never seen people like jump up and down and scream so loud. And it was just such a great moment for me, because I knew that they were rooting for me and that they had my back the entire time. And so I think that's just another testament to how great this team is.
Oh, I was watching that from work. I remember I yelled at work, and my boss just looked over, and I was like, I can't explain it. You won't get it, but this is huge. It was like a Wednesday or whatever it was, Thursday night, and I lost my mind. But I remember that. That was absurd.
Some of my best memories are tailored around Patriots and the team chemistry as well. Specifically, our senior year, Christian and I were 2 of the captains on the team, and obviously you work your 4 years as hard as you can to be a leader on the team, and you're able to achieve it. You go into Patriots, everyone's feeling good, team is cohesive, we're all bonding. Dan brings us together for a pre-meeting, gets us pumped up, and we're ready to go. Everyone's like, jacked up, can't wait till tomorrow. And then we come together as a team in something that we do just before big meets, and say something nice and what means the most about someone on the team. And you randomly assign somebody, and that's not a problem. You can talk about anybody on the team. You know each other so well, you're brothers. And it just feels good to know that people know you outside of swimming, that they know you outside of the pool, and you walk into the next day, the first day of the biggest meet, and you're ready to go. Everybody's walking step by step with you. Prelims, you swim out of your mind, and then the cowbell starts ringing at night, and you just can't wait to get in the pool again. And those are always the best for me. So luckily you're able to get 4 of those, but every year it gets better and better as you grow as a team.
And I'm just picturing that, Billy, and looking at Todd's background of the pool, and I'm just thinking of, like, when you're walking out from the locker room, you have this, like, nervous energy. Everybody's, just got together as a team just to talk about and get each other amped up, and then you hear that cowbell just ding, and that just is just so electrifying. And you look up and you just see everybody standing, alumni, classmates, parents, and it's just the whole just everybody together. That just is such a huge, always something I'll cherish in my mind. I'm thinking too of just, fond memories of relays. Have a lot of good ones, and, especially spending the summers, training with some of these guys, and going to some incredible races, South Carolina, California. I think one of my favorite relays though was a dual meet in Colgate, and we did like a spontaneous underclassmen versus upperclassmen relay race. And I was a sophomore that year. Billy was on there, Timmy Purley. I I think Steve Grun was there as well. So maybe we're racing like Sacco and those guys, but I think we out-touched you, Sacco. So that felt pretty good.
I do remember getting the win as well.
It was.
That does not ring a bell. I can't corroborate that. No.
Gonna say, depending on the math here, I'm not quite sure if Grun and Sacco were actually there.
I know, yeah.
So
might
I feel like we might be mixing memories a little bit. Those are all great memories, and certainly a theme that has been expressed by all of you guys: team, teammates, what it meant to be together. And so, kind of the next question was, who was a teammate who you respected or admired that made a difference in your time at Bucknell? And so certainly can be somebody that's on this call. Don't have to be bashful if it is, or if it's somebody that's not, but that's just a person that you really respected and impacted your time and your 4 years at Bucknell.
I'll kick things off. I think admiration can mean a lot of things. It can mean respect. It can mean, something I mentioned earlier, just camaraderie and friendship. My freshman year roommate, Nate Fry, is one of my favorite people, probably my favorite person I've ever met in my life. He's one of my best friends. And I think Charlie mentioned something earlier, like, all walks of life you'll meet at Bucknell. He's from Western Pennsylvania. I'm from Connecticut, and we had drastically different upbringings. He was, he was salutatorian. I was not. He had, an interest in math for some reason, and now he's a dentist. He's a guy who taught me a lot about a lot of different things. Helped me kind of stay grounded, because I can kind of take myself too seriously. It's probably the one thing I've taken away from my friendship with Nate. It's really, it's a simple thing, but it's like probably the thing I had to learn the most in my maturity as a person and in my college career. And that's not even mentioning the incredible times we had on the pool deck and in the pool, and competing. We were on some of those record-breaking laser racer relays our freshman year. And those memories, I'll certainly remember forever. But our friendship, that's something I admire, and I admire him as a person, probably above anyone. So I'll just throw Nate Fry's name out there. I think he deserves it.
I admire this person so much that I asked him to be my best man in my wedding, Billy Krause. Where can I start? I think there's a lot of different ways that people can be leaders. And for Billy, just the fact that he's able to, connect with you individually, but also just be able to rally the team and just rally everyone together is just so incredible. Looking back at our time, training, we're in the same lane, and just whether just making like the day-to-day so fun, whether it's just like, doing like a run and diving in the pool, or, just like those little things that just kind of make practices you're looking forward to, then coming to Swim Meets and just coming to these bigger pictures that, realizing like how important, these races are firstly, but more importantly, just, as a team coming together and really just getting everybody, behind the same cause.
Thanks, Christian. I appreciate it. Christian's also my best man in my wedding, so it's easy for me to pick that. Christian's had a big impact on me, whether it's the natural competitiveness that comes out of both of us and wanting to succeed and be the best, or just, working together as leaders and friends and finding ways to just dig a little bit deeper and bring a little bit more out, bring the energy, and just continue to build and build and build. So each day that ticks down on that practice sheet matters. Similarly, I did a lot of training with Mike Nicholson, and there's, in my mind, as hard as Christian and I worked in the pool and the weight room, there is not a single person I've ever seen work as hard as Mike. So you'd see it and you'd be like, man, this guy just has a motor that never runs out of gas. And you think you got him, and he just finds a gear and he goes, and you're like, oh man, like again. But the examples that were set all over the pool deck by different people, that everyone had something that they brought. Christian and I worked closely together, and we always got the juices flowing. And Mike was always setting a really good example for the team.
I think that, I was very lucky in that, for years in front of me, we had a really strong group of older guys in the team that were really great leaders, really great, examples for everyone that was, an underclassman. I look at the three guys above me that are on this call right now, which are three of the, I would say, most prime examples of that in terms of, bringing the tenacity to the pool deck every single day. And, just showing by example, what it means to be a Bucknell swimmer and what it means to be a college athlete, really. If I had to hone in on one individual, someone that I've really always admired tremendously, would probably be Trevor Wrights, who was my co-captain my senior year. He was also co-captain of Billy and Christian his junior year when he was a junior captain, which there was only one of, at least in my 4 years at Bucknell. Trevor was, one of these people that brought just a level of energy that is really unmatched, right? And we're not talking about, his actual, swimming, right? I mean, he was a fantastic swimmer, a fantastic water polo player. Luckily, I actually ended up choosing swimming, but I just mean, a level of just absolute enthusiasm to everything that we did every single day. And, it was something that was very easy to feed off, particularly at, 6 a.m. or, one of the grueling practices during our training camp in the winter. So, it was someone that I looked up to quite a bit. He certainly had some, setbacks. His father sadly passed away his senior year, and he was just a tremendous leader through that process, which is incredible. Coming back with the team and being a part of our Patriots and ECACs. So, unfortunately, I don't keep the world's best touch with him as I do with some of the other guys, but I would say without question it would be Trevor.
I guess I'll go next. As kind of you guys have alluded to, I think it might be Sako. Admiration can mean a lot of different things. And I respected and took a lot of personal, I guess, motivation and personal knowledge from a lot of people in different grades and everything. So I could pick people from every grade my freshman year through that I learned from, or I tried to learn from, whether it was getting me to go faster on practice or getting under my skin to make me work harder because they knew I had a little bit more left, whatever that may be. I tried to find motivation in any nook and cranny throughout the team. But to be pretty honest, if I had to choose one person that I swam with, it would have been Lewis. Lewis and I had a very special relationship in the fact that we would get along for the most part, but come round 4, the last round of a 4 a.m. set, something like that, we were no longer friends. It was I'm going to beat you or we're not coming out of this pool alive kind of deal. And I respect Lewis the hell out of that. He pushed me, no question, to be better than what I thought. I used him as motivation in almost every set, every day. And I can only hope that I did the same for him, because I don't think I get to any of the accomplishments, any of the times that I did without him kind of in the pool with me every single day. Granted, Mike, I heard your name. I was kind of chasing a ghost because I didn't know you as much, but you were somebody that definitely was in the back of my mind. But Lewis kind of helped be in the front of my mind because he was there beating me every day. Not just to say that you didn't have an impact on the team. I know you did, because I've heard countless stories about you from teammates that I've shared with you. Unfortunately, we were never on the same team. I would have loved that, but Lewis was definitely somebody that kind of brought that to the forefront every single day in, day out, to push me to be better than what I thought possible. And at the end of the day, we get out of practice and we are back to best friends. I mean, he's a goofy kid, but he's a great guy, a good friend, and somebody I respect a lot.
All right, I think I'm last here, but I kind of took a different approach to this. I kind of want to, I guess, admire the five other guys that were in my class. So that would be Tom, Jack, Mitch, Vince, and Chad. I just think we went through so much together. We went through, I guess, 2 different, big team phase changes. And, they always had my back regardless. We always, we're supportive of each other. We always push each other to be our best. And I could always look to, any one of them for any kind of advice. And they would be there for me. And we always we excelled in the pool together, we excelled socially together, we just had the best time with each other. And I think just having that that support and being able to communicate with all 5 of them on anything just really helped me through my process and my 4 years. And that's why I still admire, all 5 of them to this day. And, we still talk a good amount.
Thank you for all those. Are, great memories, that even for me that I share with you guys. And so hearing the stories about the team and the teammates, it's awesome. It's kind of the last, we got time for one more question. And so kind of maybe shifting a little bit away from the experiences and memories of the 4 years to what some of you touch on, how do you translate that forward? And so now John's got one more question, and it kind of is that idea of how do you take what you have and move it forward? So John?
Yeah, so what advice do you have about networking and finding the right job after Bucknell?
I guess I'll go first. I'm the most recent one. So I took my sweet time finding a job after school, and I can honestly say it was an incredible experience. So I would not rush just into anything just because they say, I'll give you a paycheck. I was able to do a lot of traveling. I actually did some swim coaching for a little bit. So if you have that opportunity, I would definitely take it. But other than that, would just take advantage of what they give you. There's so much with the Career Center, all the career fairs, and just anyone who graduated. Obviously anyone who graduated from the swim team will help you out any way they can. But you look deeper into it, and anyone from Bucknell will help you. And so just keeping that connection alive, and having that, I guess, bison pride, as they like to say, will definitely help you out.
I guess as me being the second most recent grad, I'm obliged to speak next. But kind of what Charlie's saying, the resources of Bucknell, they do a great job in trying to prepare you and connect you with as many people as you possibly can know. I think I touched on it a little bit before, but knowing as many people from as many different areas is a great asset that Bucknell gives you, whether you understand that or not. So whether we're talking classmates, if you're an engineer or a poli-sci major, doesn't matter. You're going to have these people in smaller classes that you can get to know on a personal level pretty quickly, because you share 2 classes a semester for 4 years. So it's these people you kind of get familiar with, maybe not in the same exact sense as swimming, but the bonds hold true. So whether it's academically, whether it's athletically, don't be afraid to reach out to peers, whether it be a year above you or the same year as you. It's just the more people you know can't hurt you. And that's what I've always found is, first of all, try and be friends with as many people as you can, get to know people and use them for their knowledge, because they're going to come from a different background. Like Sako was saying with him and Nate, you're going to have people with this experience that look at something this way versus this way, and using that and having connections one way or the other, I found pretty powerful. I've actually switched jobs in the 2 or 3 years since I've graduated. So, and that was part of it. I had some coaching, some thought ideas and sessions dealing with kind of where do I want to go? What do I want to do? I'm still considered on the younger side, so I don't know if I'm actually going to do this for the rest of my life. But having somebody to talk to, even in that interim period that maybe Charlie's talking about, or if you're in between jobs, having a resource, having your teammates there and friends, goes a long way. So being open to feedback, to criticism, but also having a good attitude to get to know people and learn from them is something that I've benefited from thus far.
I guess if we go in reverse order, I'd be next. So, you know, if I had to give one piece of advice, you know, it would definitely be to just be very open to opportunities and industries and careers and things that maybe you're not necessarily familiar with, right? I mean, I personally ended up in a career path that I never would have expected, really even my junior year of college, right? I just eventually found my way into a industry that not a lot of people know exists. And, you know, I've been doing it for 6 years since, and I love it. It's really great, really rewarding. And it's something that, again, I never would have realized if I didn't sort of take a chance on an internship that I wasn't really sure what we were doing, and turned out to be, you know, a really great thing. Not that that's always great advice to just do things that you don't know what you're doing, but in this instance, or in any instance where it's, you know, plan A might not work out, you know, there's a lot of cool things out there, especially in all sorts of different emerging fields that you might not think of, and your skills, really whatever they are, translate well into all sorts of different things. I mean, I look at someone like Billy, who, you know, I would have never expected to be in medical device sales, and he's doing that and is really successful. And, you know, I can't speak for him, but I know that that's something that at least he didn't major in medical device sales when he was at Bucknell. Just like Christian, you know, he's a doctor for humans, even though he was an animal behavior major, which I think surprised a lot of us.
I can go. Yeah, I've been in school a while, so, you know, like, these are, you know, things that take time. But I think, you know, if I were to boil down, you know, just some things that have already been said, just that are incredibly important to, you know, to do. But, you know, I think one of them is, you know, you can always learn something from everyone. And, you know, when you're in, you know, networking rather than, you know, getting something from someone, but just like learning, just being open-minded, you know, always, you know, realizing what opportunities, you know, can emerge. I think perseverance is really important too. And, you know, Mike talked about transferable skills, you know, in swimming, you know, the day in, the day out, the grind that, you know, you go through and you work with your teammates, you know, what you come out, you know, and how that can be applied to whatever field you go in, is incredibly important. Yeah, my major was animal behavior. I worked with baboons, you know, in school, and really for me, I think the third point is just, you know, like, take time to kind of look holistically at, you know, what you enjoy, what your passions truly are, and where do you want to go with those. I considered myself pre-vet in college, and kind of just, you know, took a step back and really asked myself, what do I like, and what were those things I want to continue on doing. So here I am now.
I'll go next in this reverse order. I would emphasize the Bucknell network. It really knows no limits. For instance, you're on a call now with 6 guys that have been all in the workforce, ranging from 1 to 6 to 7 years. You have our contact information. We'd happily introduce you, your teammates, anybody to any of the men or women swimmers that we came across. And within 4 or 5 phone calls, you're spanning almost 2 decades of alumni that are on different trajectories of career path in different industries, which can open your eyes. Just by talking to somebody, you might realize a job exists that you didn't even know was available or was a thing. And it might really click with what you're studying now at school and make for a great internship, or a day of shadowing. You come to Manhattan and you shadow somebody in their office and you realize, wow, I really love what's going on here. Or I'm glad I did that because I know I can cross that off the list. So do not be shy in reaching out to people, asking for help, just asking for advice, or just, you know, dropping a line to somebody, even the teammates you're with now. You'll never know where they're going to be, and everybody loves to be kept in touch with. So just keep it going, keep the camaraderie going up and down the ladder of years that have graduated from Bucknell.
Cool, and I'll anchor this question. And there's a little bit of irony because I work in talent acquisition and recruiting, but I don't really have any other advice to give other than what everyone else has said the last for 6 people. Really just be open-minded. I never would have found myself in recruiting if I wasn't open-minded. Trying to help people get jobs has been rewarding for me, and find their career path. But it really comes down to being open-minded and taking the resources that you have at your disposal and seeing what's out there. Always take the call, have the meeting, get to know different industries and different opportunities. Like folks have said on this call, you never know what might pique your interest and where your skills will be most applicable. But there are so many different opportunities that a swimmer will succeed in. And just from someone who's on LinkedIn all day, every day, seeing Bucknell University, I'm always going to click on that profile. So utilize your network, and someone who sees Bucknell swimming and diving, or swimming for 4 years, a letter winner, that goes a long way too. It's going to kind of emphasize and underscore just how much of a hard worker you are and what you're dedicated to. So those things, what you're doing right now, they make a difference on your resume and on your profile and who you are as a person, and job, hiring managers and people that you'll meet in your career search, that makes a difference. So just want to emphasize those things.
All right, thank you guys. And so I think we are kind of at the end of our window of time. And so before I turn it back to Todd, I just thank you all for taking time to be here, to share memories, to share advice. It was awesome to see everybody. I'm glad everybody's doing so well.
Thanks, Dan. And first, I'm going to turn my attention to John. And John, thank you for taking the time tonight to join us from wherever you're living on campus. And we appreciate that. And we're all keep our fingers crossed that come later this winter and this spring that you're in that pool behind me competing in meets. And we're hoping that's what the case is going to be. And if you are, we wish you the best of luck with that and your first year here at Bucknell. So thanks again for taking the time. And to the alums, guys, thanks so much for joining us tonight. As Coach mentioned, a lot of the words and the phrases you guys mentioned during this call really hit home. I mean, Charlie, I was obviously in an auditorium when you did that with the 50 free, and it was crazy. And Christian, you mentioned the cowbell, and the 10 years I worked in the Patriot League conference office, the one championship I never missed in 10 years, and I always wanted to work, was the swimming and diving championships because of the spirit and the energy that's in that pool on those championships. There's nothing like it. So thanks for what you did while you were members of the swimming and diving but more importantly, thanks for what you do now and what you're going to continue to do for the swimmers that come forward, because our program can't succeed without the success of the alumni and the support of the alumni. So I thank you guys for that. And then for people that tuned in tonight at home to watch, we thank you for doing so, and go Bison.